Hi, my name is Akira Thomas. This is my casta presentation for Humanities 2461 online. I tried to do the PowerPoint and the Zoom, but I couldn't figure it out. So I'm here uploading a video like this, but I have pictures. So, to me, I think that the casta paintings were a way to show the hierarchy for the rich. And it says that society would never even see the pictures. They did not see the pictures for years. They were just in like the castles or in like, the king or the queen or like, whoever was the higher up, they were the only ones that would ever see them. But I think that they were a way to show what they thought was changing in society, which would be the interracial and would be the women coming into play, and showing women, I think, was a huge thing as well because they actually represented a woman. So to me, that was kind of huge because, in the 1700s, 1800s, women didn't have anything. They didn't have any rights. They didn't have anything, but they were just, they were the wives and they were the moms or whatever. But you do get to see like I feel like they kind of tell a story of, those families, and kind of like what the basis of them is. Like some of the women are selling, some of the women are cooking, some of the women are with their child. And I think that kind of represents, that time and like what that family was, or like the different like ways of family, how it was. White men were at the top, and as you went through the casta paintings, the darker skin tones were coming out. So the black woman, the Indian woman, the Hispanic woman with white men were coming in to show. But it was all just, the hierarchy. The mestizos were the white and Spanish, and the mulattoes were the African and Spanish, and the castizos, were actually all three. They were white, Indian, and Spanish, but they were 3/4 Spanish with Indian and white in them. My painting that I picked was the Francisco Clapper paintings. The image on the top right, here, I'm going to show you. Hold on, let me see. Okay, so this one right here, the child is pulling on her mom, on his or her mom, and the mom it kind of looks like maybe, I don't know if it kind of, to me, it kind of looks like a disagreement, or like the child's like, come on, and the mom's like either trying to like groom him, or they're like not agreeing. I can't honestly decipher which one, but it looks like it could be both, and either way the child is like, pulling away, which to me is like, it's like, come on, mom, let's just leave, let's just go, and that's how I interpreted it. Yeah, maybe begging, I don't really know, but that's what it looks like. And I don't know, that one stuck out to me because you see in the other ones, the mom always has a baby, or the male has a baby in one of them, but the mom's like, feeding and stuff like that. I think that they were painted to be degrading in a way. The albinos were definitely painted to be degraded. They were painted to kind of be like the black sheep of the community, and they wanted to kind of make it seem like these albinos were like not theirs. Like they didn't want it. Like they were like, how can you have come from a black woman and a Hispanic man or a white man? And everybody saw albinos as like, oh, they just come from, white people, but it's actually not, and it's the other way around. But they were kind of painted like they were, they weren't worthy of being a child. They were like having a special needs child, pretty much. I feel like that's how I interpret it. And in one of the pictures, you see him and he's got a gun and a knife and he's got cigarettes around the kid, which to me shows like they were not wanted, and they weren't like, oh, here's my kid. I have a child. They were like, oh, here's my kid. What can I do to get rid of this kid type thing, which you can see throughout all the paintings. You know, their faces are different. They give like a different like look on their face. They kind of do try to make them look like they're like special needs, which is like so sad to me, because albino kids are still black, or Hispanic or whatever it is. But you know, I do think that the cast of paintings are relevant. They tell stories of the representation of the time through the changes, because you know, you have the Spanish, and you're having this whole cultural change, and you're seeing different cultures come together, and they're interracing, which was super frowned upon, but it became such a normal, because they were taking over, you know, like the Spanish, there was war, and there was so many different cultures, and there were slaves, and now they're like, oh, well, we have these slaves, let's make them our wives. And I think that was a huge representation. There's also the representation of the food being cooked, the different fruits being cooked, and the different ways to do it. There's the different cultures and, you know, families, and how like the different roles that each person plays. You can see that throughout each painting. Each one is different, you know. You see like a hardworking man, or you see a husband and a wife, and they're both working, and then the baby is just there with them. Like, I think that that's so cool, and they're definitely relevant now, because it, I don't know, I think it gives like it just gives like a representation of how life used to be, but it also kind of, you know, gives kind of how life is now. Like, there's two workers, and then there's a kid, you know. It's not necessarily, you know, so white and black of the woman stays home and the man cooks or whatever, but, or like slaved, you know, but it is, I think whenever if you're looking at the cast of paintings in like the hierarchy form, from like, you know, the highest being the first picture to the lowest, I think that society does look at that the way, and you can come in with racism in that way, and they look at, you know, black people or Hispanic people, and they think that they're the lowest of the low, and that's so unfair. But that's the way that the pictures were. If you are not pure white, or you're not white, like, you're pretty much nothing to society, and that's how it is. Like, you can get away with so much because you're white. And, you know, as you have different races come into that, it gets much harder. Much, much, much harder. I don't know. I think that these casta paintings, casta also means case, which is the case system. So it kind of like is in the words of it, you know, in the hierarchy form of how they do things. I don't know. I think the casta paintings are very unique. I didn't know this much about them, but I've seen them before in so many museums. I travel to Philadelphia often, and I've seen them before. And it's really cool to know the history on them now, and to, you know, look at them and study them.